So, is now the perfect time for a men's rights movement resurgent? Coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logical Reason. As always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So, we know that society has been on the path left for a while now. You know, we have all these leftist groups keep pushing leftist nonsense, leftist ideas on society. You know, we have the feminists, right? You have the feminist movement. These women keep complaining and crying for rights that they already have. I mean, women already have more benefits in society than men do. And they're still complaining, you know, and they keep making up these same arguments that has basically been debunked. For some reason, they're not getting the memo that they're debunked. Then we have the alphabet people. I mean, these people keep adding letters to it. I mean, if at the rate they're going to be able to have a PBS special, you know, the new letter people or something. At the rate they're going, the way they keep adding letters and finding all these new victims. And then let's forget children, right? It's amazing that children, you know, children can't vote, right? They can't buy alcohol or cigarettes or tobacco products. They can't go into clubs. They can't go into R-rated movies on their own. They can't drive, but they're old enough to figure out to choose what gender they want. It's insanity. I mean, if you let the left, they will literally destroy a society with this insanity, but they don't see it when they're living in their emotions. Now, why have we been going down this path? Well, there's an old saying, you know, the only thing that evil needs to prosper is for good men and women, or good people, to do nothing. And unfortunately, for too long in this country, the good people have sat idly by and just done nothing, because most people, you know, we have jobs, we have lives, and we have things that we have to do. So oftentimes we get used to what's happening, because again, all these things didn't happen all at once. It's a slow progress, you know, it's a slow continual progress. You know, it's like the frog in the boiling water, and hot water analogy. And human beings, like I said, we just creatures of comfort. And especially living in the West, you know, even if people don't believe that they're comfortable in the West, in Western society, it's the most comfortable society on the planet. So human beings, being creatures of comfort, we have a tendency to go to what's more comfortable. And unfortunately, you know, history tells us that the only time that you usually get human beings to act is when acting is more comfortable than sitting still. And I believe that this is where we're starting to get to now, because if we look at the men's rights movement and men's rights activists, this is nothing new. I mean, this is something, you know, that started like in the late 70s, where is when the men's rights activists were created. And the problem was, it was just the wrong timing, because if you look at the way the feminists are today, I mean, they're crying about being victims when they're not. So imagine what they would be saying back then, when they didn't, when feminism hasn't progressed and all this leftism hasn't progressed nearly as much back then as it is now. So really, men's rights activists really didn't have much of a voice. Now we see, you know, fast forward to today, and we see the rate in which all this nonsense has progressed, all this leftism has progressed, and it's getting to the point where it's just ridiculous now. You know, the point where you have to identify, if somebody can just identify something, is absolutely ridiculous. I read a report that a substitute teacher was fired from her job because she refused to identify one of the children as a cat. That's like, this is insane. And the only reason why this exists, again, is because men have sat idly by and let this foolishness go on. That's the only thing you can say. And this is one of my only issues with the red pill community, as well as MGTOW, is I've spoken about MGTOW, you know, men going their own way. Instead of going your own way, you need to go to the government to demand your rights. So this is my only issue with all these red pill content creators out here, is there's only so much you can talk about as far as how men are being screwed in society, how men get screwed over when it comes down to family courts. There's only so much you can talk about it until at some point in time you got to do something. And this is why I say this is a perfect time to see a resurgence in the men's rights movement. Because we have, number one, we have the pain out here. We have the pain. We have all these men who see what's going on and see how men are being screwed over in society. You know, man gets divorce rate, and nobody has a problem with that. You know, we look at the Brian Banks situation. Black man had his life, he basically had his life ruined, athlete looking to go into the pros, have his life ruined because a black female lied and say he raped. There's no way, shape, or form that this should happen to anybody, right? You look at what's going on with Drake right now. You know, Chick suing him because she attempted to defraud him by getting the condom out of the trash and poured it into her vagina so she can get pregnant, baby by him. But she didn't know that there was hot sauce in the condom. But she can sue him because she was irritated and she had pain and discomfort for something she did. And I also read a report, I know Tommy talked about this. A man in Detroit was basically supposedly owed $30,000 in back child support. They're threatening to put the man in jail for child that's not his. There's no reason whatsoever should a man have to pay child support for a child that's not his. And if they find out that it's not his, the child support should stop immediately. It shouldn't be the best interest of the child. That's bullcrap. If it's not your child, not only should you have to not pay child support, but you should get a refund for all the money that you pay. And the only reason why this nonsense is happening is because men aren't doing anything. This is why, like I said, there's just enough pain out here. Plus, now number two reason why I think it's a perfect timing is, well, there's so many red pill content creators out there. I mean, red pill is out there. It's the Pandora box is open. You know, there's another old saying, you know, there's no force on this planet that can stop an idea whose time is coming. Red pill is that idea. I mean, there's so many red pill content creators out there and so many, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of viewers, and men are starting to be educated. So I think now is a perfect time for us to say enough. And if we get these red pill content creators to get together and band together to start this movement, it would happen. But like I say, this is not about red pill content, men versus women relationship. Actually, the truth of the matter is about society. If you look at where society is headed, like I said, we headed into ruins. I mean, the left would literally drive the bus right off the cliff. And this is not only are they driving off the cliff, they're hitting the accelerator. So it's coming upon us to say enough is enough as men in this society, because you're measured not by what the situation was like when you got there, but what the situation like there when you left it. And right, we inherit a good society, but we're gonna leave crappy society. And what about our children? I'm thinking about the next generation, our children, and my grandchildren, and my great grandchildren. What type of world are we gonna leave for them? This is why I say that right now is a perfect time, because the left are not going to stop. They're going to constantly keep pushing for nonsense, constantly keep finding new victims, constantly keep changing laws, constantly keep crying about all these oppressions and all this evil patriarchy, the white man this, the white man that. They're going to keep pushing all this because there's an ultimate agenda. But I'm going to try to contact some of these red pill content creators, because I know I saw it seems that Tommy Sotomayor is going to be a more regular on the Fresh and Fit show, and to see him sitting on the same show with Donovan Sharp, Rollo Tomasi. It's good to see that him and that Tommy Sotomayor and Donovan Sharp has buried a hatchet. There was a little feud they had. But because we need to band together, and even if you don't like that particular content creator, it's all about the greater good. So, like I said, it is a perfect time. I can't think of never been a better perfect timing for a men's rights movement resurgent. Even though the movement is still out there, but it's just been nothing, because their voice is going to be silenced. But they can't silence everybody. They can't censor everybody. They can't threaten all of us, to be fired from your job. to lose your livelihood if we all band together and say no. But this is long overdue. Anyway, so yes, this is absolutely the perfect timing for a men's rights movement resurgent if there's ever been. And as always, y'all, until next time.